Hi everyone, welcome back to YouTube Live. This is Kunal Bothra. Good to be back again, and I hope you enjoyed the last video which we did, especially on 4th of March, 5th of March, where we highlighted that the markets are nearing a major bottom for themselves, and we could be in for a big, a monster rally. So we specifically designed the term, we use the term that the markets are going in for a big monster rally, and we were rewarded. I mean, all of you guys who were part of the YouTube live, who looked at the markets and who looked at the way we discussed threadbare about each aspect about the markets, each aspect about the data points. I'm sure all of you guys would be rewarded quite handsomely, right? So Rishabh Modi, hi Rishabh Modi. He calls me data eater. Fine, good, lovely, nice terminology. Thank you so much, Rishabh. But uh, right now we are at 1800 points rally, and you still ask the question: the markets पैसा बनाया कि नहीं बनाया? The only answer which we get from most market participants is that जितना गवाया था एटलीस्ट उसमें से थोड़ा तो रिकवर किया है, बट पैसा बना नहीं है. I mean, even after giving such a very strong, clear, absolutely strong direction, if people still come out and say क्या लेना है, क्या बेचना है, कब लेना है, कब बेचना है, what more can I say now? So I'm sure, I mean, many of you guys would probably fall in that camp. But today's discussion, which we'll be having, is again a bit of a extension of where we left off in the previous discussion. So today, what we'll be doing is in the session today, we'll be discussing about the market patterns which is going on right now. Okay, the most important part, so market pattern से ज्यादा अब सबसे ज्यादा important part को है, what is the important question? The question is which indicator to trust in this market, correct? Or which behavior of the markets right now is the more prevalent behavior, and how do you spot that behavior? And with using that behavior, using that characteristic of the market trend, how do we spot which stock, which sector can outperform, right? That's the big question. It's a very interesting question. So I am not giving you stock tips or trading tips, but I'm trying to tell you that which way you can assess the current market conditions, and using that tool, using that, maybe you can call it as a strategy, how do you try and find picks? How do you try and find patterns? How do you try and find trends? Correct? So that's the big question which we'll be answering today. Like what we do every single time. What is the first thing which we do every single time? Yes, you just click on that button which is there, the thumbs up button, and the share button to all of you guys. I mean, all of your friends, of course, your families, colleagues. I mean, whoever is keen into, I'm not saying making money in markets, but at least visualizing that how the overall market setup moves. So I'm sure and I hope and I assume that you've been liking or with us over the last series of the last 2-3 months. तो मेरा एक हमेशा एक कहावत होता है कि डॉक्टर की जरूरत सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी कब होती है? जब बीमारी फैली होती है, right? So like that's why in the last 2 months we were very constant about trying to come out with YouTube lives, trying to come out with our analysis. Now I'm sure when the markets have moved up higher, and especially in that first phase of 1500 points of a non-stop rally for the index, बहुत जनों को लगा होगा कि अरे हाँ मतलब मैं ही तोप हूँ, मैं ही 30 मार खाऊं, etc. But that's how it is now after this 2 days of correction and that's mild pickup of price action today. The question is that can the markets move up higher? Is the market ready for a correction? Which stocks can lead? Which sectors can lead? What trends the markets are following, right? To decipher all of that and most part of the analysis in the current market is the next set of discussion over the next half an hour or so, where we'll try and orient ourselves. So again, request to all of you guys who are part of the YouTube live today, don't forget to like, share, and you click on the notification button, because there is no fixed time for me when you ask me to give a YouTube live. It could be at 7 o'clock, it could be at 8 o'clock, depends on the kind of backlog of work I already have. And once I get free, that's the only time where I try and ensure that I do the YouTube live. So, with that, let's begin today's session. The idea, of course, with every session which we discuss, idea, I hope you guys can see the presentation. I guess so, right? I think it's blank. This is the funny part about, yep, this is the most funniest part about. Okay, wait, let me just try and see what I can do. It's visible. Okay, it was visible. 1 second. Wait, let me just. Okay, fantastic. So I'm assuming it's visible now also. So the topic for today is bulls versus bears, and the questions which we are discussing, or the pointers for today's discussions, are the recent trend for the index, that sudden stop which we have seen at 23,800 mark, the behavioral patterns what the index is following right now, the sector patterns, which sectors. In fact, what I will do today, okay, on the YouTube live, is not just give you a sense and try and tell you that this sector is doing well and this and that. I will try and give you a tool or sort of a strategy or a behavioral characteristic of the current trend for the index, and you will help spot the patterns aptly, right? है ना, इंटरेस्टिंग बिट वो होता है ना कि either I give a fish every day or I try and give you a tool in which you can try and fish regularly. At least in this market trend. See, every market trend has its own behavioral characteristic. Every trend has its own USP. Every trend has its own sector leaders. Within sector, there'll be stock leaders. So her trend different hota hai ek dusre se, and that's the beauty about markets right now, correct? Because in this phase of the market trend, there are new sectors, new stocks, new behavior, new trends which are emerging, and that's how we'll be discussing today. So we'll go to the first part of the market analysis, which we start looking at the trends, correct? So let's look at the first part of the index move. Okay, let me just bring out a very clean chart over here. Okay, this is the clean chart of the Nifty 50. What are we seeing right now? There is one very important behavioral move which we are seeing. This is the volume chart, right? So after weeks of the index going into a downtrend, you can see for the first few times you're seeing high volume candle up moves for the Nifty. This was the breakout move on the candle, and this was the follow-up up move for the Nifty. In the last many months of the markets in a downtrend, the volumes were typically on the slight lower side, which means this tells you participation is increasing for the Nifty as and how it's going up higher. The second part, right? We discussed the markets over here on 4th or 5th, on 5th of March, that the markets have made a major bottom for itself. How do we characterize the behavior? Now for that, we look at the gaps. So I'm just zooming into this part over here. Okay. So you can see the two yellow lines, and right now the third line. You can see these gaps. These are gaps on the indices. Let me just hide the volume chart so the gaps are more visible and more clear. The first gap which we generally see is the breakout gap for the index. So what happens is, पहला gap होता है जहां पे index breaks a trend. Now look at it previously. In the previous leg of the market trend from 21,900 levels towards 22,500, 600 mark, we rallied for 3-4 days. We paused for 3-4 days, right? And this zone, as you can see, became a resistance. That's the 22,600 mark. When the markets gave a breakout, the first gap, this gap actually became a breakout gap. 2 दिन ऊपर था market, Then a second gap was formed. This is what we call as a continuation gap. And the third gap which happened is generally termed as an exhaustion gap. So if you remember, on this day, in fact, after this day, which is 24th of March, 25th go, if you guys do track my tweets on the Twitter, I mentioned specifically that it's a perfect time for the markets to start showing some red. Correct? So that was an indication that we are now going into a bit of a profit booking mode. Why? Because there was this exhaustion gap which was seen. Now let's look at the setup for the index. Why did we pause over here? There were two reasons which we paused. One is the previous resistance for the Nifty. Okay. So every market trend, in fact, I mentioned this in the previous YouTube live also, that every market trend, there is a pit stop for the Nifty. There is a pit stop for the index, whether it's in a downtrend or whether it's in an uptrend. The more the market respects those pit stop, the higher the chances that the markets would continue to move in that trend, because those pit stops act as a pause or act as a phase where the index can digest the gains, or in the previous trend it was losses. So index consolidate करता है उस pit stop पे, थोड़ा up down movement होता है, and then the index continues to move in the original trajectory. Right now this zone of 23,800 is the pit stop for the Nifty. The question is, the first question which we are asking today is, can the Nifty break past above that pit stop level of 23,800 mark, or can the index consolidate and maybe correct after that? Okay, right? That's the first foremost big question which we are answering today. Now, first, let's look at the gaps. Now, today what happened was, when the index opened slight lower, I think we opened some 20-30 points or lower for the Nifty. What we did today, you can see this, I'm zooming it over here. We partially filled the gap. बोलते ना एक जख्मी शेर, घायल शेर is more deadlier than an actual शेर. In this case also, a partial filling of a gap is considered to be very powerful as compared to a full closure of a gap or no closure of a gap. I'll repeat once again: a partial closure of a gap is considered to be more powerful than a full closure or a no closure of a gap. So what happened in this case? We moved up higher. The index went into 2 days of correction. Third day of a mild gap down for the Nifty, 40-50 points odd gap down for the index. We partially filled the gap. You can see this. We did not break the lower end of the gap. The lower end was 23,400. We did not go below 23,400. And from here, the index started to rally. Right? What is the important candlestick which you are seeing today? You can see this. This was the negative candle. जनरली हम कहते हैं कि जब 50% ऑफ द कैंडल को ऊपर क्लोज कर जाता है, 50% ऑफ द बिग बेरिश कैंडल के ऊपर जब इंडेक्स क्लोज कर जाता है, तो देन वी से दैट द मार्केट्स आर गोइंग इनटू अ टर्न अराउंड और बुल्स हैव स्लाइट बिट ऑफ स्ट्रांग होल्ड. सो इन दिस केस the candle height was 23,700 as a resistance, 23,480 490 as a support, which means 23,595 or 598 is the breakout point for the index. We closed exactly at 23,000 or maybe slight below 23,600 for the Nifty. So which means tomorrow's day will be extremely crucial. Why? Because if we move even 20 points higher, 20, 50, 70, 80, 100 पॉइंट जितना भी मूव करे, अगर हम 23,600 से ऊपर मूव करते हैं, very high chance that the index will come back towards 23,800 mark. But that's not the only data point which you are looking out for. As I said, every market trend will have its behavior. Let's try and assess the behavior of the market in the current juncture. So for that, what we've done is we've looked at the three major key moving averages. Why have we looked at three major key moving averages? Okay, because in this leg of market downtrend in the last 3 to 4 months, you can see that the Nifty has been taking resistance at a particular moving average. In this case, the 50 DMA and the 20-day moving average cluster. 50 DMA resistance, 50 DMA resistance, and then a breakout. So, which means on the way down, which is the first most important and a formidable support for the index. 23,400 was a short term support, but the more formidable resistance is the 50-day moving average, which and this gap, you can see this, which is 23,000 or 22,940. एकदम extremely precise number बताऊं तो 22,940 is the major support, a major backbone support of this entire 17 point rally for the Nifty, which may also coincide with almost like the 50% retracement of this market move. What is the second reason why we paused at 23,800 mark? Any guesses? So, okay, let me remove the gaps. Let me tell you the retracement. तो अगर हम 26,000 से retracement चालू करें over here, 26,200 से हम 21,800 पे retracement करें, तो which means we are now looking at a band of 50% retracement, which is around the 24,100 mark. So the first retracement is 38%. The second retracement level is 24,200. Very strong likelihood, very strong likelihood that the index will retest this 24,000 to 24,200 range, which is the 200 moving average, and the 50% retracement of that entire big fall. So if you ask me which is the first major litmus test, okay, bulls are now becoming stronger than the bears, that level is 24,000, 24,200. Clear? Now let's remove the retracement part and let's get to this point. Okay, I'll just zoom out so that you guys can see the chart. Okay. Now over here, I'm highlighting the three key moving averages. What are the three key moving averages? The green line is the 20 DMA, the red is the 50, and the white is the 200 moving average. Now, what are we spotting over here? Let's go back to the discussion which we had almost like a month back. You remember we spotted two mega trends, three mega trends sector wise. I'll just recap very quickly. One, metals will make a very strong comeback. Within metals, you will have Tata Steel as one of the more formidable and the stronger potential performers. The second, which we recapped, was uh, the financial services index or the Fin Nifty would lead the market charge on the upside. The third trend which we highlighted was that the energy index on the Nifty is looking supremely strong, right? And ripe for a very big breakout. Now, using those three sector trends, let us analyze and see whether the Nifty has the wherewithal to move above the 24,000 mark. And if it does, will this be just another 200 points on the upside, or will this be another leg of a monster rally for the index? Right? I hope you guys are excited because I'm very excited to try and showcase this on the charts. So let's look at the few examples. Okay. This is the charts for Tata Steel. Just see what happened over here. If like the stock fell lower, initially resistance at 50 DMA, 50 DMA, 50 DMA, a breakout happened. Post that corrections, the stock came back towards retesting the 50 DMA. What happened post that? The stock moved up higher. But the most important aspect was, if you can see on the chart, is this crossover. Can you see this crossover? Maybe I'll just increase the size of the lines. Okay. I hope now the chart should be very, very visible to you. or the crossover is visible to all of you guys. Correct? This is the crossover for the index. This is the crossover, or rather for the stock. Now, when this crossover happened for Tata Steel, what did this indicate? This indicated that the previous trend is over. The previous bearish trend is over, and the stock is ready for a uptrend. Does it mean that immediately next uptrend चालू होगा? नहीं. It doesn't mean necessarily. Like 3-4 days, up down, up down, up down. But post that, so these 3-4 days of consolidation was just to test the power of bulls. The moment it was established that bulls are strong, you saw phenomenal comeback, and the stock moved from 135 to 155.60 range. So a 20-point jump on Tata Steel was seen over here. Again, is this one-off, or are there any other sectors or stocks which have been showing same trends? Let's look at other stocks. Okay, let's look at first Bajaj Finance. You see this? The moment the crossover happened over here, the 20 DMA crossed the 50 DMA, उसके बाद क्या हुआ? A major uptrend. उसके बाद में retest हुआ 50-day moving average का. Retest होने के बाद में, because the slope of the averages start to move up higher, you saw the stock trending higher. 2 points which you're establishing. A crossover के बाद में हो सकता है एक 50 DMA का retest, and उसके बाद हो सकता है a massive uptrend which continued for Bajaj Finance. Bajaj Finserv, again, very similar. A breakout, post the breakout, you see this immediate, there was a 1-day downtick, tried to come back to that 50-day moving average, post that, a consistent up move. Let's look at the other name. You remember energy index we were discussing? That energy stocks में से, see the charts for NTPC over here. Breakout, the 20 DMA. I'll just zoom this. Okay, the 20 DMA breaking above the 50 DMA. Fortunately, there was no retest because breakout होने के just पहले वो already 4-5 दिन consolidate कर गया. You can see 4-5 days it's already consolidated, and post that it's moved up higher. It came back to the 200-day moving average. Now again 2-3 days of dip, and now is preparing for a breakout potentially above the 200-day moving average. So now let's come back to the index chart. Okay, first point. What is the index chart showing right now? Guys, what is the index chart showing right now? That we are consolidating just before the crossover which could likely happen. Now, okay, we are almost at the end of the month of March. Maybe I think one more trading day left because 31st is a holiday, extended weekend for all of you guys. Correct? So we have one day where the markets could probably see some bit of lag. 2nd of April is where the markets will be throwing the big surprise on the tariff, if in case there is a surprise, okay, on the tariff front. So maybe you might have some bit of volatility which may come back. But post that, so assumingly in the next 2-3 days, in the next 2-3 trading days, if you get a dip towards 23,000 mark, okay, if you get the dip towards 23,000 mark, will you be afraid or will you buy? Come on, guys. If in the next 2-3 days there is a sudden dip towards 23,000 mark, there are two things which will happen. One is that the index will retest the 50 DMA. The second, because the slope of this average, you can see the slope of this average, because the slope of this average is moving up, इट इज पॉसिबल दैट 2-3 दिन अगर मार्केट करेक्ट भी करेगा ना, तो भी आपका स्लोप जो है वो स्टीप होते जाएगा इंडेक्स में, करेक्ट, बिकॉज द 20 DMA इज कैलकुलेटेड ऑन द प्रीवियस 20 days, द प्रीवियस 20 days। और जैसे ही ये वाले दिन फैक्टर हो जाएंगे, यू कैन सी दिस डेज 1 2 3 4 5 6, जैसे ही ये 6 days आ जाएंगे, आपका 20 DMA स्लोप स्टीप करना चालू करेगा। I don't know if you guys know the working of how moving averages are, but the moment you will see the last or the next 2-3 days of consolidation, the moment you see 20 DMA starting to slope higher, that's the first massive indication that the markets are gearing for a breakout. Now, what happens when the index goes into that kind of a breakout? Index is nothing but just a mirror of what happens to the individual components of stocks. So when we try and find index movements, what we do is we try and find the movements of the components of the index. So as I said, names like Tata Steel. Okay, what happened post the breakout of the 20-day moving average with the crossover of 50 DMA? The stock went up higher in the next 1 month. The second part which we look out for is indices. So let's look at the index. This is the Nifty Energy Index. You remember our discussion on energy index? Even the energy index is gearing up for a up move. Let's look at the Nifty Financial Services Index. You can see this. The Financial Services Index, the moment when it gave a breakout, the 20 DMA crossing about the 50-day moving average, there was a very big up move. So 200-day moving average को तो easily cross कर गया stock. Let's look at other stocks. Shriram Finance. 20 DMA breaking past above 50 DMA, and post that you see a massive uptrend. अब massive uptrend में second part क्या हो रहा है? What is the second part, guys? The second part is what happens when the 20 DMA crosses the 200 DMA. ये है छोटू ब्रेकआउट और ये है मोटू ब्रेकआउट, राइट? The 20 DMA crossing 50, first sign of this behavioral trend of the index of the market right now, where you see the stock moving up higher. The second is a more powerful phase where the index is showing strong signals that we are in for a major uptrend. Let's look at another stock. You can see this. Same crossover हुआ, crossover होने के बाद में 50-day moving average test किया, 1-2 days here and there, but post that you see the stock gaining traction and coming back towards 200-day moving average and breaking past about those levels by a margin of 4 to 5% at least. Come back to the index once again. What are we discussing? If in the next 2-3 days, even if assuming something worse comes out in tariff, something unexpected comes out in the tariff, or even if something doesn't come out negative in the tariff, okay, post a tariff, even if we consolidate over here for the index, say for the next 3-4 days, consolidate का मतलब अगर हम इस 400-500 पॉइंट बैंड में रहते हैं, 23,400 as a support and 23,800 as a resistance approximately, even if we stay in this band for the next 4-5 days, the 20 DMA is gearing up for a breakout to the 50-day moving average. देखो मजा तो वो आता है कि ब्रेकआउट होने से पहले हम जज करें बिहेवियर क्या है मार्केट का। ब्रेकआउट होने के बाद तो बहुत ऑब्वियस है, 24,000 जब अगर इंडेक्स अगर आ जाएगा तो देन यू गाइस विल ओनली से अरे यार ये तो एकदम इजी था, ऑब्वियस था। बट ब्रेकआउट होने से पहले इज द बिगेस्ट किक व्हिच यू विल गेट, because that's where you are anticipating. So the rewards of anticipations are high, right? And if your analysis is based on logical conclusions, then there is a strong likelihood that the success rate is much higher. Let's add this or complement this data or this reading of the strategy part with another observation, right? And that's what we do. We try and combine different logics of market to try and give a sense of where the index is heading towards. We discussed the first important part, which is the trend or the behavior of the Nifty. Can you see this? Brilliant classical trend line. Brilliant classical trend line. Can you see this trend line on the Nifty? One, two, three. Every time the index has moved up higher on this trend line, this is the monthly chart for the Nifty. Okay, guys, repeat with me. What is this chart? Monthly chart for the Nifty. Every time this has happened, the index after the bounce from that trend line has seen at least two green candles. Okay, let's come back. This was the first candle, first tick, where the index formed a support. Next candle, very big breakout. उसके बाद क्या हुआ? Another chotu green candlestick which was seen. Let's come back over here. 2023. Okay. Index takes support at this trend line. We end 4 months of consecutive losses. Indicators massively oversold over here. First month of price rally. सबको लगा अरे मार्केट टॉप आउट कर जाएगा, फटीग हो गया मार्केट. What happens? Next month the index moves up more higher. Now this could be a scenario we can say अरे तो बुल मार्केट था 22, 23, 24 में, तो मतलब एक घनघोर बुल मार्केट चल रहा था, तो मे बी बिकॉज ऑफ द बुल मार्केट the index is showing this pattern. Let me take you back the last 25 years. This is the pattern, right? Let's go back to 1995, 1996. This is the pattern, right? This is the zone. Okay, let me just zoom into it. Correct. This is the point which we are discussing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 consecutive months of negative trend for the Nifty. Post that, we saw the first month where the index moved up higher. Was this one-off? Was this one-off? No, it was not one-off. It was an indication that the markets are getting ready for next month of follow-through up move. अब कितना जाता है next month, कितना ऊपर जाता है, of course, I mean, we are not going to decide exactly over here. But I gave you the first big ballpark understanding that if the markets fall also from here, even if the markets fall from here, should you be afraid? Will you be afraid of the market correction if in case it happens? Because we are heading to that event, 2nd of April ka event hai, that's why there is that factor of uncertainty which is there, right? You will not be afraid. Correct Nitin, Manoharan, Preeti Gupta, Nirmal, Alice, Jogendra, Saugata, Sabyasachi, Rushabh, and all of the other guys who are on YouTube live today. You will not be afraid. You should not be afraid of the market correction if in case it happens, because there is a possibility, okay, there is a possibility that there could be intraday knee jerk reactions. तो हो सकता है एक sudden knee jerk reaction हो सकता है index में, तो you should not be too much worried about it. The second factor which is also there is India VIX. We are not in the India VIX of 16s and 17s and 18s. We are in the India VIX of 12s and 13s, which means that the markets have that capacity to try and absorb shocks. Okay, जितना lower India VIX जाएगा उतना confidence बढ़ते जाएगा market में. तो हो सकता है post the 2nd of April the India VIX can drop further. We may try and fall say closer to that 12.5 mark. So अगर 12.5 के आसपास भी India VIX आता है, मेरे हिसाब से वो बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग और एक अच्छा इंडिकेशन है कि मार्केट अभी एक हायर रेंज पे सेटल हो गए हैं पॉजिटिव साइड के लिए. करेक्ट. नाउ द बेस्ट पार्ट इज लेट्स लुक एट फ्यू स्टॉक्स. अगेन not any kind of a recommendation, but the idea is let's look at few stocks where there is a likely crossover which is happening. I'll just browse through the charts and you guys tell me which is the stock. Correct. You can see this Union Banker chart exhibiting the moving average breakout. Which is this chart, guys? Which is this chart? Arey, I should have hidden the name of the chart. Chal, theek hai, main. Can you see this? 50 DMA, sorry, 20 DMA crossing the 50-day moving average. 20 DMA crossing the 50-day moving average. अब क्या हो सकता है यहां पर? Any guesses? Guesses. Okay, now you add all the other data points. What are the other data points? Triple top. It's a triple top breakout. Can you see this? Triple top breakout chart mein. 3 resistances taken out. The third one taken out convincingly. You never know what can happen to this stock in the near term. Let's look at another name. Okay, this stock already moved up higher about 200 DMA. तो 200 DMA के ऊपर already चला गया था ये. But this was the chart Bajaj Finserv. I'm just browsing through the charts and we will take a pause. Now see this. Can you see this chart? So as I said, the index generally behaves or copies what happens to individual stocks. Index has this behavior of trying to mimic the trends of individual stocks. Clearly, यहाँ पे बता रहे कि NBFC pocket में you are starting to see more stocks heading towards such kind of a breakout. Okay, Ashok Nyadhish is asking about Reliance Industries. Tell me, is Reliance confirmed a breakout? Will it confirm a breakout? What happens if it confirms a breakout? Very strong likelihood that Reliance, when it confirms a breakout, will also start to participate much more handsomely in this leg of the market trend. There was one more stock. Again, please guys, not a recommendation, okay? But one more stock which today gave a breakout. Right? Can you see this? 20 DMA crossing the 50-day moving average. And post that first time. I think if I'm not wrong, last half an hour में, last 1 hour में कुछ news आया था on BPCL. I guess so. Right? Manappuram Finance. Okay. Someone is asking Satya Prakash on Manappuram Finance. देखो कितना पहले कर गया Manappuram Finance. कितना पहले कर गया. The 20 DMA crossed the 50 DMA much before, much earlier. है ना? And see what happened post that. So this tells us that we are at the cusp. We are at the cusp, or we've ended just first phase of the monster rally. We are only at the first phase of this monster rally. If in case there is a dip down towards 23,000 mark, we should ideally be taking this with both hands or grab with both hands, assuming if there is nothing major data point, nothing negative happens on the data points for globe as well as for India. That's the assumption. Okay. Then we are looking at a point where from that 23,000 mark, which is 50% retracement of the rally, the second gap for the index, the 50 DMA for the Nifty, 3 major points. So if in case we dip down, we should not be afraid and we should be looking to buy that dip for the index specifically. I also gave you a sense of which strategy you can use in this leg of market uptrend, so you can encash if in case you spot certain trends. All you guys can do is just write it on the comment box. Atul Mishra is asking about Infi. द चार्ट्स आर ऑब्वियस इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. मैं रिवर्स करता हूँ चार्ट्स को, इन्फी का चार्ट्स मैं रिवर्स करता हूँ. ओके, बिकॉज कभी कभी क्या होता है, रिवर्स आप देखते हो ना चार्ट्स को तो आपको एकदम क्लियर लगता है. ये दिख रहा है 20 डीएमए क्रॉसिंग 50 डीएमए फॉर इन्फी. दिस इज द रिवर्स चार्ट, इनवर्स चार्ट. सो अगेन जैसे ये हुआ, स्टॉक स्टार्टेड टू ट्रेंड. यू कैन सी दिस ट्रेंड, यहाँ पे ट्रेंड बना स्टॉक में. दिस इज द एक्चुअल चार्ट फॉर इन्फी, एक्चुअल चार्ट. So every trend has a behavior, every trend has a characteristic, every trend has a quality. All you have to do is you have to start identifying the quality, the behavioral characteristic of the trend. The moment you spot that, you can encash this with multiple stocks, multiple sectors, multiple indices which are exhibiting very similar or at the same juncture, similar juncture of the price trends. We'll take maybe a few more questions. Okay, Rishabh is asking for graphite. हाँ, अब ये देखो ग्राफाइट का चार्ट. अगेन अभी तक तो आया भी नहीं है ब्रेकआउट. 20 डीएमए इज नॉट इवन क्रॉस द 50 डीएमए. अदानी एंटरप्राइज, इंद्रजीत इज आस्किंग. अभी तक तो आया ही नहीं है. इमेजिन, मतलब देयर आर सो मेनी स्टॉक्स वेयर द क्रॉसओवर इज येट टू हैपन. आई तो जस्ट गिव रैंडम एग्जांपल्स. सी दिस, another name. See this chart. We discussed this chart earlier also. Look at this. So Varun Mittal, this chart will answer your query. Okay, let me just. I hope the chart is clear. Tata Com, perfect. Tata Com. अभी तक तो इसमें रैली आया भी नहीं है, ब्रेकआउट आया भी नहीं है इसमें. So like this, you can do this exercise for tons of charts, tons of stocks. मतलब my idea was just to give you a sense of how this strategy can potentially help you spot those patterns, spot those charts. As I'm speaking, I'm just trying to browse the charts. So hopefully if we get maybe another couple of names, it could be beneficial. Okay, look at this. Classical. है ना? हवाई जहाज. Look at this. क्लासिकल चार्ट, 20 डीएमए क्रॉसिंग 50 डीएमए. उसके बाद में ट्राई करता है, 50 डीएमए का रीटेस्ट होता है, इंट्राडे सडन रीटेस्ट, एंड पोस्ट दैट. सो निर्मल इज आस्किंग अ क्वेश्चन whether we should wait for 23,000. Okay, I am saying I don't know whether 23,000 will come or not, but if it comes, I for one will not be afraid about trying to buy the dip. I hope that much is clear to you. Okay, Nirmal. So, okay. I hope this part is clear. Do you want me to keep the charts on while I'm answering all your queries? If in case you guys have any queries, I would request all of you guys to write it on the comment box. Before you do that, don't be a confuse. Please ensure that you like and share the video, because today what I've given you is a mind-blowing strategy of how you can try and identify potential winners in this phase of the market and try and ride the trend for the markets. Nirmal is asking what could be the potential upside target. The first target which we should be looking out for is 24,000 to 24,200 range. Once we cross that level, then you are looking at a much more bigger upside. So what will happen over here, Nirmal, is that assumingly, so assume if the Nifty corrects towards 23,000 mark, what is the pattern which we can make? So I'll show it in this chart. Okay, this is the Nifty chart. है ना? What happens if we make a case over here? We are making a case where the index can form an inverted head and shoulder pattern. You can see this. ये आपका neckline बन जाएगा. ये आपके सारे gaps निकल जाएंगे. Okay, I've removed all the gaps. In case if the market moves up, say if we fall below 23,000 mark, and then if we come up higher, What are we forming? This is the shoulder, this is the head, and this is the shoulder. It could be an inverted head and shoulder pattern. What is the depth of the pattern? This could be the depth of the pattern. How much is this? Nirmal, you only answer now. How much is this point? How much is this point? 21,900, 23,800. Exactly. Rushabh, perfect. So it's a 2000 pointer range breakout which could potentially happen. That's why I'm using the words very aptly, that we could be just confirming the first or an end of the first phase of a monster rally for the Nifty. So I hope you will always remember this word, monster rally. Correct? Perfect. So this chart is telling us, if in case we dip towards 23,000 mark, we could be completing an inverted head and shoulder pattern. है ना? और वहां से second round of major तेजी can come into the index. That could be led by series of factors. It could be banking moving up higher, energy moving up higher, so many factors which can potentially do very well in that phase of the market trend. As someone is honking from behind, I think he's wanting to join the YouTube live very quickly, I guess. Natrajan is asking about Excite Industries. Okay. So this is the chart for Excite Industries. I'm not sure whether you can see it, Natrajan, but yeah, this is how it is. Charts for Excite Industries. Still, the stock is struggling. Still, the stock is struggling. So you can either wait for a breakout to happen. Breakout के लिए wait करोगे तो it will be much better. If you're looking to say look at a prospective trend into the stock. Okay, Nirmal is saying, Kunal Ma, you are a great. Oh, thank you so much, Nirmal. Uh, Reliance is energy sector. I guess so. Reliance is part of the energy index. Okay, guys, shoot your questions quickly. Okay, Jay Shankar Gonipura Siddha Gangaya. I hope I have spelled her name perfectly. Brilliant name, sir. Brilliant name. I really loved it. If it goes up to 24,200 first and then comes down, then still, irrespective of that, even if it goes up higher and comes down, if it completes that inverted head and shoulder pattern at 23,000 mark, a 50 DMA retest that gets completed, it will still be considered positive for the index, right? Still be considered positive for the index. So I hope that answers your question. Varun Mittal is asking about all the Chakri stock. Varun Mittal, where are you? And when are you catching up? So Varun Mittal is asking about Suzlon. Varun Mittal, this is the charts for Suzlon. You can infer what can happen to the charts now. Correct? I hope you got the answer just by looking at the charts. Sometimes it is good, na? I give you the key, you yourself can open the locks. Okay. Now, Vinay Kapoor is asking about Adani Ports. Vinay Kapoor, this is the answer for Adani Ports. It's there in front of you. So if you've been seeing our YouTube live for today, you will get the answer for Adani Ports. Okay. There is question on Nirmal Kumar is asking about Banco India. I have not seen the charts of Banco India. I mean, I don't know whether you want to trade into this stock right now. There are far better leaders which are there. Far better leaders. Choice is yours. Okay. Praveen Chandak is asking, sir, if in case Nifty going below 20,000, then so as I said that there is a chance that the Nifty will fall, could fall to 23,000 mark. Okay, could fall to 23,000 mark, but there is a strong likelihood that the 23,000 mark can hold on. So by 23,000 mark, I don't mean that round figure 23,000 levels. हो सकता है कि 1-2 days it may fall lower. All of that can happen. But at 23,000 mark, if in case that dip happens for the index, that will be a very good risk reward zone where we start going contra buy on the Nifty. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Pravesh. Uh, Trailing stop loss for this strategy, use 50 DMA closing as a good trailing stop loss for this strategy. 20 DMA or 50 DMA depends, Rishabh, on how speedily the market moves up higher. Mm, okay, Zomato. I think I answered Zomato. I guess so. Dekho. See, Zomato has not fallen. But if you ask me, at 200 Zomato, short term wise, maybe the stock is finding multiple supports at 200 levels. So I hope you got the hint on Zomato. SML Isuzu, I think the stock is in a lot of news flow, but still brilliant. See this chart, 3 4 days uptrend, 200-day moving average retest coming down, moving average about to happen. हो सकता है maybe one more day of downtick. If it happens, even if this happens, the downtick, assuming if tomorrow or the next 2 days the stock goes into a bit of a downward trend, the moving average is telling you a different story altogether. Dipti Gupta, I showed the charts for AB Capital, so I'll skip that. You can maybe relook the charts or the video if you're looking at AB Capital. NHPC, see this reinstates the fact. So अगर आप short term trader भी हो, अगर आप 2-5% swing भी करना चाहते हो, why not? This strategy can help you in this leg of market trend. Don't look at this strategy as that this will work in all market trends, huh, guys. Just I'll add this disclaimer that in this phase of the market trend, we are identifying that this is the behavior of the strategy of the characteristic of this trend of the markets, and that's why this strategy should ideally work very well, at least for the indices. Okay. Manoran is asking, sir, today IDFC First Bank volume breakout happened with block deal. Yep, good breakout for IDFC First Bank. Let's see on the chart. Yeah, breakout, but again, 20 DMA is not crossed above 50-day moving average. So I'll probably give it a wait and watch. Uh, Okay, Indumati has asked a very interesting question. Do you use Chat GPT for making analysis and predictions? If so, please tell us for which ones. Chat GPT हम use नहीं करते. Chat GPT, I'm not okay. This will be an extreme that Chat GPT uses my logic, but I have a separate set of filters which I use, and there are hundreds of filters which I use when we are looking at analyzing stock trends, behavior, patterns, etc., etc. Right? There are hundreds of indicators which I look out for, and all we do is we just give a sum of parts of what most of the indicators are saying at that point of time. And I don't use Chat GPT for uh, giving these kind of signals or making analysis. Not at all. Thank you, Varun Mittal. Atul Mishra is asking about Titan. Okay. Yeah, this is the daily chart. Of course, this is the daily chart. Okay, finally a good question, right? Thanks, Nirmal. Titan, answer is there, clear in front of you. Tata Motors, all those who are jumping the bandwagon, should you buy or not? The answer is there in front of you. Okay, Dharmesh Shah is asking Equiolite. I have not tracked this chart ever. Equiolite, no idea. I don't track it, so I can't recommend. Tata Tech. Okay, Bank of Baroda. Ajay Sancheti is asking Bank of Baroda. So even after today's 4% up move for Bank of Baroda, you can see now what has happened is that stock. Look at this zone. You've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 big green candles for Bank of Baroda, which means जैसे ही 20-day moving average recalculate होगा stock का, you will see a sudden jump in the slope of the 20-day moving average. That itself should give you a sense that the stock is getting ready for a potentially ready for a further up move. Whether it happens tomorrow, day after, difficult to anticipate. Okay, Satya Prakash is saying Geo Finance has been added to the Nifty. How does it matter? Point is whether Geo Finance is giving a 20 DMA breakout. The answer is there in front of your screen, right? Wokhard Pharma. Okay, last chart. Uh, Wokhard Pharma. 20 DMA breakout of 50 DMA right now happened or not? Not yet. And because it's not happened yet, maybe the stock could be sideways. Okay, so Joginder has already done the hard work, right? Joginder Chindarkar, and he's saying Paytm and MRF. He is saying Paytm and MRF are looking ripe. Let's see Paytm and MRF whether they behave in that manner where the 20 DMA rises above 50 DMA. So I hope you guys at least love today's part on the strategy, because बहुत rare होता है that we discuss strategies also, right? When we are discussing that what happens to stocks, how do you start looking at the trends, how do you start identifying trades, how do you start looking at which sectors, which stocks are leading, which sectors and stocks are lagging behind, where the index can head towards, all of that part gets summed up. But I'm still seeing that why not all of you guys have started to give thumbs up to this video, because this is as good as the video which we discussed at the start of this month of March, when we mentioned that we are in for a big monster rally. Right now, I'm making a claim that we've ended just the first phase of this monster rally. There could be a retest. There could be a retest, as we discussed, maybe to that 50 DMA for the Nifty in the near term, but that should not deter a short term trader, or at least a guy who's wanting to buy the dips for the index specifically. Okay, Alice is saying Kunal GPT. Okay, KB GPT, wait for his session to get over and answer our Q&A. Thank you so much, Nitin Patil. Ashok says, Kunal, you are a great teacher. Triple salam. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Trust me, it means a lot. Vinay Kapoor is asking, do you have any advisory services only for stock options? We don't have it right now, but we've developed a mind-blowing system, okay, which gives us even those 20-50 points of moves into options. We just have to automate it. The only concern which happens is automation, because there are huge number of data on the options chart, and when we load this on the software, many a times the software hangs. That's the only problem which we have. So we are trying to solve that. Maybe Vinay Kapoor, hopefully in the very near term, we may try and find a solution to this also. Okay, good. So I hope you love today's session. I would request everyone to rewatch the video. For guys who have not looked at the strategy part, what strategy we are discussing, why we believe that even if there is a phase of a sudden correction, you should not deter yourself from staying in the course on the long side, unless the data points which emerge could be completely chaotic. That's the only premise where we believe that the markets may change their course of trend. But even if that happens, we will still look out for behavioral patterns for the index. And we also discussed that if in case the index breaks past about the 23,800 mark, what is the next level of target which we are looking out for on the index front. And I think we discussed behavioral patterns, etc. We discussed quite a lot, right? And of course, we discussed a lot of stocks. No recommendations, but I just showed the charts to all of you guys, and the inference is there for all of you guys to try and pick those inferences and analyze how do you assess, ride, and come out with stock or sector themes to ride this trend on the upside. Next session, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. Let's see. But this could be interesting, right? I hope all of you guys enjoyed it, because as I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. thoroughly. And it's good to be back again for a full-fledged YouTube live, right? Brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope there are no questions left, and I hope I've answered everything uh, over here. Please do a session after tariff. Alice Maridas is saying, okay, that could be a good point after tariff or maybe around the RBI policy, because we have this very interesting knack that around the RBI policy, okay, we come out with interesting statistical observations, right? Interesting statistical observation. So I want all of you guys to be ready for that also. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe the video, and ensure that you have a fantastic evening. Tomorrow, of course, is the end of the month of March, end of the quarter, end of the financial year. Do file your taxes, do pay to the government, because once you start paying to the government, only then we start seeing the markets to rise up higher. But jokes apart, we believe that hopefully going forward, at least the pain what most of us have seen in the last 6 odd months, that pain may not get replicated at least in the next 1 to 2 months. We are hoping that April would be at least, I'm not saying as rewarding, but at least be slight better than what we've seen maybe potentially in the last 3 to 4 months. And hopefully we can carry forward the momentum what we've seen for the month of March so far. So with all of that, great. Thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely extended weekend. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the channel and click on that notification button. Thank you. Bye bye.